What famous person do you dislike for an extremely petty reason? Guy Fieri. I loved getting the Big Apple burger from Applebee's. They had him redo their menu, his face was all over it. Recommendations, healthy options, new items. But no Big Apple burger. This motherfucker took it off the menu. He deprived me of 2 half-pound burger patties, 4 slices of cheese and 4 slices of bacon with a plate full of fries. My heart and health thank him, but I will hate him until I die. Ben Affleck. His face and his voice are annoying. Most of his acting consists of looking like he just found a ticket on his car. Ryan Reynolds. It's just not fair that he's that handsome and hilarious. Plus, he landed Blake Lively and they are so wholesome and cute together, it's disgusting. How dare they have adorable children together and be a somewhat normal family in this day and age of dramatic Hollywood couples. It isn't fair. Beyoncé, purely because people put her on such a high pedestal. Acts like it too. Apparently she was in line for the role of Tiana when The Princess and the Frog was coming out, but she didn't even show up to audition like she was just gonna be handed the part. So she didn't get it. Next time a role came up she actually auditioned. Elon Musk blocked me on Twitter once. He's an obnoxious prick. He tweeted some art on Twitter once, then refused to credit the artist when asked to, and then when he received backlash he doubled down and said crediting artists is destroying the medium. He acts like a bratty teenager, which isn't surprising. Sting because Roxanne had a bunch of suspended 4ths and 6th. He could have used normal chords and the song still would have been cool. Asshole. Wouldn't that be Andy Summers you're mad at? Put an accomplished jazz guitarist in a punk reggae band, what do you expect? P.S. Sting was just the bass player, Stewie told me. You're right. But 30 years of burning hatred towards Sting isn't going away. I'll just have to direct a new stream of anger towards Summers. Andy Summers you bastard. Ariana Grande was rude to my dad's best friend so I dislike her. Tell us the story. Is being a Scientologist petty? Every time I hear some celebrity is a Scientologist, I say to myself damn, I really like them. And then I proceed to dislike them forever. I still watch Handmaid's Tale but it's really hard now that I know Elizabeth Moss is Scientologist. I used to love her. But seriously, she is part of a religion very similar to the one being critiqued in her own damn show. It's almost an impossible level of ironic. I understand that she was born into it and her whole family's in, etc., but how are you associated with something like The Handmaid's Tale and not see the obvious similarities? Handmaid's Tale isn't subtle in its commentary. My mom hates Bruce Springsteen because apparently he was all about how he doesn't do drugs. So back in her youth she was at a party and saw him do cocaine and ever since he was dead to her. For what it's worth, the anecdote that all of them smoked a shit ton of weed while recording Jungle Land gets thrown around pretty often. It seems like most of the drug-free claims come from Steve Van Zandt, and usually in tandem with how he's aged more gracefully than someone like Mick Jagger. So honestly, who the hell knows? It seems unlikely that you could go through the 70s as a rock star and never do any of that. It is not that I dislike him, he is a fine actor, but I feel like Morgan Freeman gets too much of a pass when he divorced his wife because he was banging his step-granddaughter. Like, he would bring his granddaughter to movie premieres, introduce her as his granddaughter and all the while he was banging her. WTF? I googled this and the story gets even sadder. She was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend in 2015. Wild. Yeah, it was really quite an interesting read. The reason I think it is petty is that, well, it is not a surprise a rich man would date a young girl and it is not a surprise that an actor would get a divorce over it. But the fact it was his granddaughter and that shortly after they ended it, she was murdered, just kind of gives me pause on the dude. For several years at work, I ate stoned wheat thins with chicken or tuna salad for lunch, eventually building up enough empty boxes to start wallpapering my office with them. Then they started putting Rachel Ray on the boxes for a year or so, and the project stalled out because those wouldn't have matched the others already on the wall. Fuck Rachel Ray. Wheat Thins doesn't understand that their choices affect other people. Frown. Post Malone, just because of his dumb name, face tats and stupid tilted head grin, he looks like the kind of genie that would pop out if you rubbed a Can of 4 logo. My father didn't like Frank Sinatra because of the French cuffs on his shirts. Primo Petty. I didn't like Penelope Cruz for a couple of years because I really disliked a badly dubbed shampoo or skin commercial she was in. Toby Keith. I was in Iraq when, courtesy of the red, white, and blue, the angry American, was all over the place. Here I am, a Gen X punk rocker sitting in a Humvee fighting for my life against insurgents, terrorists and anyone who has a grudge against the West, while some dipshit redneck is talking about how badass America is. Basically throwing fuel on the fire of their already burning hatred. And this song was played at least 10 times a day in Iraq. I swear they replaced tilde reveille with that stupid ass song for morning wake up. If I ever meet Toby Keith, I'm going to punch him in his face without saying a goddamn word. And I'm absolutely certain he'll know exactly why. Greater than if I ever meet Toby Keith, I'm going to punch him in his face. I think instead you should put a boot in his ass. It's the American way. Quentin Tarantino, because he always looks so smug when he smiles. He has every reason to be smug, but still. Also, Tim Burton for having a hairstyle I constantly want to comb out. I really love Quentin's movies, but I am pretty certain that one day he will kill everyone at the Oscar ceremony with a machine gun. Greater than machine gun at this point, I wouldn't rule out a flamethrower. Terry Crews. He's jacked, he's funny, he can paint. That's too much for one man. I honestly don't know why, but I tried to look for a reason to dislike him. Maybe because he seemed too good to be true? Anyway, I couldn't find one. He just seems all in all like a really stand-up dude. Even the skeletons in his closet are pretty easy to forgive. The guy admitted to having a porn addiction for many years that nearly ruined his life. But he worked through and got past it. It's hard not to cheer for someone who admits to having a problem, and you can see all the hard work they put into fixing it. Plus, who's not addicted to porn? I think we can all sympathize with a guy who just wants to see naked people do the romp. Tom Brady. It'd be nice just to see him lose. Lol. Courtney Cox. Maybe not dislike, but she looks like she has really cold hands, so I don't trust her. Greater than she looks like she has really cold hands, so I don't trust her. That might be the best reasoning for a petty dislike I've ever seen. Michael Bublé, because I think his name is dumb. He sounds like a fancy brand of bottled water. Michael Bubbly. Ed Sheeran, looks like a goblin. Ed Sheeran, because he can't decide if he wants to be a badass or a sensitive guy. I'm a bigot when it comes to Scientology. I hate every actor who belongs to that church. Recently I discovered that Elizabeth Moss, the main star of the show The Handmaid's Tale, belonged to that church, and now I irrationally hate her every time she's on screen. Edit. Many great points about the fact that she was born into it and so she's a victim. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, pretty much everyone is born inside a specific religion. At one point you have to keep them accountable, otherwise it's really condescending and you can excuse anything and anyone like that. Until I have some evidence that she's really a victim, I will continue to irrationally hate her. The irony is so hard there. Being the rebellious lead in a brainwashed religious regime TV show while simultaneously participating in a brainwashed religious society. Earl Moss has said the story is not a dark and gritty and not a morality lesson, but a story of very complicated people who are very lost. Girl. Dave Matthews. My college roommate would play his music non-stop, even at night. He refused to wear headphones because his grandma said they cause hearing loss. There's nothing worse than waking up to Crash Into Me the fourth time in a single night. He'd turn the music back on even after I begged to have it turn off at some point. Fuck you, Jordan. Enjoy being a high school guidance counselor. Edit. Nothing personal against guidance counselors. He had lofty ambitions, but now has the power to tell kids how not to make the same mistakes he did in college. Have I got stories? And Dave Matthews, I purposefully am staying away from you at all costs for your own safety. I have no idea how I would react around you. I worked at Mellow Mushroom, hippie pizza place, the day a Jack Johnson album dropped. I worked a double and they kept playing his album on repeat. I eventually got sent home after screaming into the air vent, the office was directly above the kitchen, that I'd quit if I had to hear that fucking album again. Ever since I irrationally hate hearing Jack Johnson and flip the radio station or demand the song be changed. The next day the manager put on bluegrass as some kind of mountain hip joke and didn't realize I knew the baritone harmony of Tom Dooley that wasn't on the recording. That was a fun face to see. Bluegrass needs more respect. I hate modern country, but folk and bluegrass are so wonderful. The idea that they are lumped together is sad. I hate Shaq, because I had a dream that he fucked my mom. Edit, I truly hate that this is the most popular reply, my most popular comment, and the one that got me gold. It doesn't help that the dude does so many commercials, it's hard not to see him anytime you watch TV. I laughed, I'm sorry. I laughed and I'm definitely not sorry. Taylor Swift, because if you have problems with everyone then the problem is probably you. I recently learned that her and the mean girl in You Belong With Me music video are both Taylor Swift. Not going to lie, she's pretty hot as a brunette. Angelina Jolie. So Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt divorced and Brangelina, which is a fucking shit name, by the way, became a thing. Jennifer was shooting for a movie in some place I forgot and she used to always stay in one hotel every time she shot for any movie and she used to call it her second home, so Angelina booked all of the hotel for herself when she found out Jennifer was coming to stay there just to be petty with her. What the fuck? I already don't like Angelina Jolie as is and then she does this to Jennifer Aniston, of all people. What a cunt. I dislike Angelina too because I remember when Jennifer finally spoke up about the affair which she referred to as uncool. Well, apparently Angelina got word of that statement and made a huge to-do about it. Like really, girl? You and Brad went destroyed this relationship together and the least you can do is let Jennifer express herself. You got the man, the instant family, the blockbuster hit. Why the fuck can't Jen just say that shit wasn't cool? Fuck Brangelina 5 ever. I was always team Jen. I can't stand Jolie, and that sucks because You Maleficent was a great movie but I can't stand her face or mouth or anything because she helped ruin a marriage. I always wonder if Brad Pitt is like, what the hell did I do? Hillary Clinton. She was giving a speech at my university and they did not properly assign parking and had to extend the event parking into an area I was designated for over the weekend. Came back to a $45 ticket. It's not her fault, per se, but I still hold her accountable. I was stuck on an on-ramp once for an hour thanks to Obama's motorcade. Literally thanks Obama. Jennifer Lawrence because my brother-in-law said she was pretty one time, like 5 years ago. I don't like my brother-in-law and everything he likes is wrong. This is truly petty. I like your style, Ariana Grande. Besides certain events like donut licking she always sounds drunk. I hate her for doing that obnoxious voice when she was on Nickelodeon, and then double down on that hate for her somehow making that segue into a singing career. Thank you. That voice that sounds like she's talking with 80% hair coming out. Like someone is pinching her throat. It always pissed me off hearing it. Miley Cyrus because she's annoying as shit. We get it, you like sex and you're edgy because you say fuck a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if she actually isn't the freaky sex pot ETF party girl she pretends to be. A lot of times when people put that much emphasis on something it implies the opposite. She essentially went and revamped her image because she was Disney's sweet country icon for so long, that she went full kill to the opposite way to trashy for independence. It's just like the kid with helicopter parents that goes wild party mode in college, or the kid with neo-hippie drugged up parents that becomes a straight-laced or business student. Thinking of two friends I knew from college.